Oh my gosh. Oh man. Ah.
Dude, what's wrong, Dan?
Oh, I am so full. I just can't stop eating now.
You got a little bit of ketchup on your forehead.
I do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I forgot to finish putting on my t-shirt too. 1 second.
Right.
Is that better?
Yeah. You good?
Yeah. I got this. You want a burger?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here. So, I actually was completely let down recently by the Gossamer Gear LT5 trekking poles, and we will absolutely get to that later on in the video. But let me talk to you a little bit about these trekking poles and why I've been using them for about the past year and a half. But first, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Onyx Backcountry.
It is extremely difficult for me to navigate, and we were recently on a trip where we found this epic waterfall. I never ever would have found it had it not been for Onyx Backcountry, an app on my cell phone. This app literally works almost like a GPS. I'm on trail, I get to a fork in the trail, I can figure out which way to go. I find waypoints like the waterfall, I get to the waterfall, I'm able to actually plug in the waypoint on the app and know where to find it next time. And one of the coolest things is that this app will actually track as I'm going along. It's gonna tell me the time of hiking, it's gonna tell me the distance of hiking, it's gonna tell me the average speed of hiking, tons of information. So if you wanna find out more, make sure you click the link in the description below, or you can head over to the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, and search Onyx Backcountry.
Okay, so right here, if you can see that, this is where this trekking pole completely snapped in half while I was hiking through some pretty rocky terrain in the Beartooth Mountains. But let's start off about why I even bought these trekking poles to begin with, because these are actually very, very expensive trekking poles. These are $100 per pole. So I was drawn to these trekking poles mainly because of the weight of the trekking poles. I used to be a hammock camper. I used to sleep in a bridge hammock, and if you don't know anything about bridge hammocks, they have what are called spreader bars at either end of the hammock, and I was trying to alleviate the spreader bars by buying trekking poles to replace the spreader bars at each end of the hammock. That way I could sort of dual purpose my trekking poles. Well, there was only one kind of a trekking pole that could do that, and it was a very, very heavy trekking pole. It weighed about 11 or 12 ounces per pole. So once I sort of stopped hammock camping and started to make my switch into tenting, I wanted to find something very lightweight. And so I landed on these. And because I was backpacking so much, I thought this was a good investment. Now, if you're a backpacker that's only going, once, maybe twice a year, I don't recommend these poles. Honestly, they're way too expensive for that type of backpacking. But if you're going consistently, you're hiking often, maybe it's even day hiking, you really want to look into some lightweight poles. It's going to help your arms. You'll be surprised how much they actually are helpful to you. When I hand these to people on backpacking trips or camping trips, they're absolutely amazed by how lightweight these are. Both of my trekking poles typically weigh about as much as one standard trekking pole that somebody else might be carrying. So just keep that in mind. Here's the non-broken version. So I also was really attracted to these handles because I thought they were cork handles. These are EVA foam. So they're like disguised cork handles, which was actually very disappointing when I got them. But as I started to use them more, they really don't feel like an EVA foam like you're used to, like a cloth or something. They feel more like a cork handle. So they don't bother me anymore. It was actually my fault because on the website it lists that the grip is EVA foam. But if you don't read that, you're gonna look at this and think it's cork. One thing that I was concerned about was the twist lock at first. Now these do extend up to 130 centimeters, which is pretty good. A lot of trekking pole tents require taller trekking poles, so that's helpful. But I was concerned that the twist lock was going to be slipping all the time. It really doesn't, unless I don't tighten it down really good. If after maybe a couple miles, I'll notice one trekking pole might be a little bit shorter than the other, and I go, okay, I didn't tighten it enough. I just give it a good twist, and it stops doing that. So I really haven't had any failures at all from the twist locks at all. They do come with baskets and all kinds of stuff at the bottom. I've got a whole drawer full of those things that I have never used ever. I might throw a basket on, like if I'm snowshoeing or something like that, but that's pretty rare. And then they do have the carbide tips here, which is nice. And these have been through a whole lot of different terrain, lots of mountain climbing, and deserts and swamps and dirt and mud and road and all kinds of stuff. So still going really strong. So let me get to why this trekking pole completely let me down. And I recently had a pretty scary accident with one of the trekking poles. But really quick, first, fully collapsed. This trekking pole is, according to their websites, 23.5 inches or 60 centimeters. So that's helpful for those of you guys that like to strap trekking poles to your backpack and make sure that they're not, you know, sticking up like a antenna and banging on trees and branches as you're hiking, or hitting, you know, things you're trying to go underneath. That's super annoying. So this thing does go down pretty small. Obviously not as small as like the Z style poles that will fold in on itself, but totally fine. I put these down inside of my water bottle pockets actually, and I really do like not having the flip locks on here, because the flip locks I feel like get caught as I'm trying to slide it down in my water bottle pouch, like in some of the mesh portions of it, or maybe on some other stuff that's in there. So really easy to take in and out with one arm when I'm hiking, which is important, so I don't have to like beg somebody to hand me a trekking pole. Okay, but on to what happened in the Beartooth Mountains. So I was hiking on a ridgeline on the side of a mountain, very rocky terrain. It was raining on and off all day, so the rock was very slick. There was about, I would say, 100-foot drop to my left. Well, some of the rocks were on angles, and I was just hiking along, trekking, and my foot hit the top of a rock, slid down about a half a foot. I fell down onto the trekking pole, and my arm came down and slammed down onto a rock. My buddies turned around, looked at me, asked me if I was okay. I was just sort of dazed and confused, you know, got up and snapped a picture. That's what you do when you get blood on your arm. Somebody snap a pic. This trekking pole got lodged in between some rocks, and the weight of me came and bent this trekking pole and just literally snapped it like a twig. But it actually snapped pretty slowly. It wasn't like you would think like a pencil just snapped in half. It snapped slow enough to where it was able to at least hold my weight as I was coming down. If I had not have had this trekking pole, I certainly would have broken my arm. I hit that rock pretty stinking hard. So this trekking pole really did let me down, but in a good way. It let me down nice and slow, nice and easy, so that I did not hurt myself. Would I recommend these trekking poles? Would I still use them again? 100%. Absolutely, without even thinking about it. As a matter of fact, I've already ordered the center section of this trekking pole from Gossamer Gear. So if one of these sections snaps or breaks like it did for me, you can just pick up the section of that trekking pole, and I think they charge about 35 bucks per section. So it was, you know, cheaper than buying a whole new trekking pole. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe for more, hit the bell notification so that I can send you a video every single time it's released, and I will see you on the next one.